The Washington Post, meanwhile, retracting a headline that accuses Attorney General Merrick Garland of politicizing the Justice Department following the FBI raid of President Trump's home. The original headline in the Washington Post reads this: Garland vowed to depoliticize justice, then the FBI searched Mar-a-Lago. But then the headline was changed and deleted, and it was watered down to say the FBI's search of Mar-a-Lago lands Merrick Garland in a political firestorm. Now, officials are considering increasing security for Garland and FBI Director Christopher Wray following an uptick apparently in death threats. But you'll remember the pushback just a few months ago for added security for Supreme Court justices when protesters were camped outside their homes and chased them out of restaurants. Joining the conversation all morning long this morning, Fox Business's Dagen McDowell and Strategic Wealth Partners CEO Mark Tepper. Dagen, your reaction to all of this as this bias continues to show pretty loudly at the FBI and the DOJ.
Well, and it's bias in the mainstream media as well. And you witnessed the changing of the headline where you can't be on the side of what is rational thinking. You have to be on the side of the left and the liberals and the manipulation within the FBI and the Justice Department. What's happening here with Merrick Garland, and one thing that stood out in his time running the Department of Justice is also going after parents, that failing to stand up for Supreme Court justices where their lives were at risk, and protesters outside their homes, but also targeting parents who dared to stand up at school board meetings. So if we will ever have fairness in this country, we need change at the top in terms of law enforcement. I do think that the Republicans are at a risk that they don't stay on message in the midterms and need to keep pushing the pocketbook issues, because this now has completely, rightfully so, but completely taken over what everyone is talking about politically, and the unprecedented raid on President Trump's home.
Yeah, and it's very dangerous to think that you cannot even trust law enforcement and the FBI. You know, one thing that we discussed on Sunday Morning Futures on Sunday was the fact that there's another case, the case of the kidnapping of Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan. Those defendants in that case were acquitted. The case is now on appeal. It's going to be heard again because there are charges of entrapment, that the FBI actually entrapped people to make believe that they were actually going to kidnap the governor of Michigan, and it was all made up. And unfortunately, this is where we are. That was another mark on the FBI, because this was a moment in time, Mark, when the left wanted to create this narrative that anybody who supported Donald Trump was an extremist. So here they have these four guys that they pin on kidnapping Gretchen Whitmer. It wasn't even true, apparently. We'll see where this case goes, but Ted Cruz went off on this on Sunday. Another mark to show bias at the FBI, on top of course, the big elephant in the room, which is the collusion with Russia, which, of course, was a complete lie made up by the Hillary Clinton campaign as well.
Yeah, look, overall, Americans are they're completely losing confidence and faith in the credibility and, as you mentioned, the independence of the DOJ and the FBI. I mean, it seems like every 6 months or so, they seem to be in the headlines for making some sort of a bad judgment call, whether it's, the DOJ. We all remember when they went after parents for actually caring about what was being taught to their children in school. Maria, you mentioned the Russia hoax, or turning a blind eye towards Hillary's emails, Hunter's laptop. It's a complete disgrace. Americans are losing confidence. And look, if the DOJ and FBI can do this to a former U.S. president, they can do it to you, too. And they are. I mean, we see them right now beefing up the IRS. There's 87,000 new IRS agents that are going to be hired. And they bought the IRS $750,000 worth of ammunition for the agency in the first 6 months of this year. So weird things are happening. This happened to a former U.S. president. And I don't like the way that we're headed overall as far as the country goes. And I think every single American citizen needs to look at this and be very concerned about the direction we're going down.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned the Hillary Clinton emails. Remember that one? Call it a matter, not an investigation, a matter. And that is exactly what Jim Comey did. This is Jim Comey's FBI. We are just getting started this morning.